Noisy Pixel.
Live from my room, it's the Noisy Pixel Podcast. Jazz music, sort of SNL sort of style. That'd be pretty fun.
That's not jazz.
That's a one baby making jazz song. All right, here we go. What's up, nerds? Welcome to the Noisy Pixel Podcast, the official podcast of NoisyPixel.net, where you can find gaming news, previews, reviews, and all that gaming good stuff. I'm your host, Brian, and again, as always, joined by the amazing Victor Aparicio.
Gin and tonic is my new favorite drink.
Good man. All right. But also, we have a guest back from Australia. It's Jacob Kavanagh. Well, he never left Australia, but he's here.
No. He's here.
Anyways,
Insert funny quip here.
go for it.
No, that was it. That was
That was the clip. All right, cool. Diving
Jacob,
right into it.
Jacob,
Let's-
I have a question. Real quick.
Okay,
It's
go
a
ahead.
personal
Yes.
question.
Yeah.
So you got your Switch not too long ago, maybe a few months ago, right?
Yeah.
Do you regret that you didn't get the light?
No.
Okay, good man. Okay, that's it. That's all I want to know.
I don't need the light. I might want to use the screen. How are you supposed to record stuff on a light?
Well, you know, the camera pointed at the screen.
Well, you tried.
All right. Well, now that we have Jacob with us, after a long hiatus of not having Jacob with us, Jacob, why don't you start off with what you've been up to? What have you been playing since we last spoke on this podcast with you? I'm sure there's a lot, but I'll cut you off if it gets too long. Just go ham. Go hard in the paint.
Go ham?
Go hard in the paint.
Okay, so we've been doing visual novels, adventure games, and everything in between because that's actually not very big. That's like a 5 centimeter gap.
Because they're kind of like
the same half the
close.
time.
Yeah, close to being the same thing.
Yeah. Okay, so that's not really okay. Wow. So I went to PAX Australia recently, which was a thing. We got an interview up for Necro Barista. Looked like the best looking game there. That's
The
just
name
a fact.
itself sounds awesome. Tell me,
It
what's
does.
Tell our audience what Necro Barista is.
Necro Barista is a visual novel-esque adventure game set in an Australian cafe where it's run by a barista who is a necromancer who can bring the dead back apparently for one last cup of Joe. Like, it might actually
so
be
far.
Joe because she can, like, infuse the souls of the damned in a coffee. Just, you know?
You still got me.
I'm still on board.
Yeah, it looks pretty rad. It's got a bunch of anime-inspired aesthetics, and it's got a sweet cinematic setup. So no need for all this text box nonsense. Just
Is there cinematic ladies?
Asking the real questions here.
we do have some good-looking female characters, i.e., the protagonist, and we've also got a rad-looking. I don't know what's up with that. There's a guy who's like got an ambiguous age and maybe many things. I'm not really sure where I was going with this. Ned Kelly is there. He's 164 years old. Ned Kelly is, for those who aren't aware,
Oh, the art style is pretty nice. I do remember this. I remember seeing a trailer for this
yeah.
game. I do know Necro Barista.
I'm upset. I don't see a date. It just says soon.
Yeah, coming
Yeah.
soon, 2019 is what it says.
it had a release date, and then they went, we actually need to push it back a bit. Now they're just waiting for red tape.
I'm okay with pushing back the date. I'm going to always say this. It's okay to push back the date, developers, because
Yeah.
I'd much rather your game be finished and playable and at least the best that you wanted it to be upon release, so that
Check it.
I can tell if it's bad because you just aren't good or it's bad because you just didn't have enough time.
check out the interview I had with Nyok Vir, who was the lead artist and one of the initial developers on the team. It was my first interview, so that was really fun.
Nice.
Ooh.
Congratulations.
Also, the Overwatch setup at PAX Australia was hilarious because it crashed like 20 times.
It's always hard to like do those like trade show big like online competition thingies.
It is,
like because
but
getting internet alone into a trade show, like it's such a pain in the butt.
Okay,
Right.
but it's really funny because it's like, okay, so we've got these switches playing like beside each other. You've got all these teams set up, and no, we got lag.
Oh,
These switches are right next to each other.
you would think Blizzard would have enough money to where they can like make that problem not a problem, you know? Because
Yep.
normally like it comes down to how much money you're willing to spend to get internet into a convention center. And so I would assume if you're trying to play Overwatch, you that would be your like top priority of what you bring to the convention.
Yep, that was hilarious.
Well, cool. So Necrobarista, you went to PAX Australia. What else have you been up to?
We are currently playing a sweet looking visual novel that we will call Gay Anime Boys Psychedelic Bookshop Adventure.
Is that the actual title? Or is it-
It's not the actual title because the actual title is like Hashihime of the Old Book Town, because apparently they couldn't be bothered changing the first word.
I see.
Because the first word is like refers to like a maiden on a bridge, but also like I really feel like a localized title would have helped if you were going to do the whole thing. But you know,
And so this is a dating sim for pretty boys.
no, it's I called it psychedelic for a reason.
Oh, okay.
It's
me
very
more.
linear. We've got zero choice. There seems to be zero choices involved, and it involves a wannabe writer who's trying to get some books published, and he ends up in a weird mystery involving definitely not Jason Voorhees and time travel abilities connected to rainwater.
Interesting.
But also, like, they're not. The time travel mechanic isn't like jump back in time, do X. It's this weird sort of like he goes back in time, but if he encounters his past self, there's no sort of paradoxes involved. If he comes into contact with his past self just disappears into a puddle of rainwater.
Right.
It's,
But you said it was linear, right? So does that mean like you just keep clicking
it just
and
keep
eventually
clicking
you'll be done with the
and
game
reading. Yeah.
and you'll have seen everything that there is to see?
Yeah, there may be a choice in there somewhere, but it hasn't happened yet.
Gotcha. So it's just like a fancy interactive story, or kind of like a fancy comic book, or a visual novel,
Or-
I guess you would just
Yeah,
call it.
yeah.
But
I was going
yeah,
for
I don't.
that.
Yeah, but like whenever I see visual novels, like all right, but like if you wanted to be a visual novel, you gotta have like choices and stuff in there. Otherwise, it's just like images.
No, then it's just called,
images
like,
with audio,
kinetic.
you know. But I guess
Yeah, but then it's like kinetic, and sometimes the
Yeah.
ones that actually do have choices, really have a bad system and may as well have not actually had the choices. Steins Gate.
cool, nice. How about you, Victor? How about what's good in the hood for you?
What's good for me? I had 2 reviews go out recently.
Mm-hmm.
It's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
So for first, I finished Greedfall, which we talked about a few times here. But for those who don't know, for those who are just tuning in, as you will, Greedfall is from developer Spiders, who did like all those other weird, like what was it, Technomancer or something, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
So now they got like this somewhat sprawling RPG. I kind of compared like its like elements in its story a little bit to tabletop. To be fair, a little bit limited knowledge on tabletop. I'm no Brian here, so but like, you know, I played some D&D. I played what's that one with the hexagons, like the hexagons, and then like you
like
trade
hero
stuff.
clicks? Is that what it is?
No,
That's got hexagons.
But Cassidon? No, that's wrong. Anyways, but I gave it praises for its writing and characters and how like almost anything affects outcomes and situations, whether it's in stories or just like random encounters of like people who don't like you. So like the things you wear can help you infiltrate like factions that, like when you do sneak missions, you can put on their clothes and like they won't bother you less. Or if you wearing like an enemy faction clothes in the middle of a conversation, some random story or side quest, like they'll be like more aggressive towards you and stuff like that. Or if you just like, or if you have someone in your party who's from like a tribe that like they're fighting with, they'll just be like, you get that person out of here and stuff like that. So like there's a lot of different elements that affect people, how they interact with you and stuff like that. So it's not just only like, oh, how about your play style? Are you a wizard and shoot stuff? Yeah. It's more than that, and it's pretty neat. But I bogged it down a few points because it's just like as much as you really want to get into it, and there are times where I was just like, dude, I'm into this game, I love it. It's like I might even like really just be late on this review, and trust me, that review was super late because I was playing. So, because like I was just like, I want to keep playing this, but the thing that really drew me out is just like there's just so many technical problems. I'm just like, God, like it's so close to being, because like I almost wanted to liken it to the challenges of Oblivion, because when you play Oblivion from Elder Scrolls, it's like that game wasn't as pretty or technically like brilliant either, but like it had like a certain X factor that made it was immersive. When you talk to people, you listen to them, they talk well, and like the writing's okay and like all that stuff, and then like you're like face to face with someone, and you never really have that. There's this strange disconnect when talking to people, because their faces are like just, it's like a board. You might as well be talking to a cardboard cutout of a person, because like they have like almost no expression. The lip syncs way off, and like or even if they even try to like, I don't know. There's so many other things that I was just, and I don't know. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm thinking a million times faster than my mouth, so sorry about that. But yeah, go read the review. They're just going to read the review. It's fine. It's good. Everyone's going to live. And you guys are like dead quiet. It's kind of off.
you don't worry about it. It's you're commanding. You've got such a good draw with your voice that we're just listening with such intent.
I don't. Anyways, so but one review I did that had high praises was I played Stella for the Xbox, a game you may have already played on Apple Arcade, because that's a thing. And so this is the review for the review for the Xbox, and it's got elements from, I compared it to like Limbo and Journey, because in Limbo, it's a side scroll and there's puzzles and stuff, and like you gotta avoid getting killed by stuff. It's like, oh my god. But I liken it to Journey. I liken it to Journey as well, because it's got more of that cinematic, way more than Limbo or maybe even Inside has. Like it has a camera that like pulls back and it shows you like the landscape and all that stuff, and there's some pretty stuff going in the background and stuff, and by the way, it made me laugh because in the very beginning of the game, like you get out from like you climb out of a well, and then after the first few sections, it pulls back and you can see your destination out on a mountaintop in the very distance, and I was just like, this game's fucking Journey. But so that made me laugh, but I believe it's original enough that it stands on 2 feet. Mm-hmm. As I say in this review, and has pretty good presentation. The only reason why I knocked it down a little bit is because it's just one of those games where like someone on first impression may be like it's one of these like things that quote unquote doesn't have a story. It's it's more of an interpretive kind of storytelling where you take it as you will. There's no narration, there's no words, there's no. Mm-hmm.
That's like one of those games where like it's a good game, but it's not like for everybody sort of situation.
Yeah,
where like people who love this game are gonna love this game, and people who are like not super into it might enjoy it, but like not as much as other people would.
Yeah, and also it wasn't as like quote unquote revolutionary as Journey or Limbo, if you want to call those games revolutionary, but like it doesn't do anything like better or worse than those games. It's just up there though. Like I praise the game just because like how simple it was and how like good you feel playing it. It's just like it's fun, and like you conquer these stupid monsters that are like way faster than you. You can't even run. Like I thought you can outrun one of them. No, you cannot. But yeah, it's fun. It's great, and it's like an hour and a half. Like that's like a movie.
Yeah.
Some movies are even longer than that.
Yeah.
And if you feel like games are like a big time commitment nowadays, just play games like that, and you'll be completely fine. It's great.
I might hit that up then because I'm having the hardest time finding time to play video games.
Beating video games,
simple games.
Beating video games is great, and like
yeah, it feels very fulfilling like, finishing a video game. You just get a sense of like, oh yeah, I did it. It's done.
Like we have the unique position of being a part of Noisy Pixel to the point where like I don't even have time for like Control, and I really love that game. Every time I play it, I'm just like, this is the best game I ever played in my entire life. Period. Mm-hmm. That may not be true, and like. I just it's long, so I can't. I haven't beat it yet. So there's that. What else have I been playing? Call of Duty Mobile again.
Nice.
I don't know what's about it. It's actually decent. It's like
because you can mobile. Like you said, our time is limited, and you to find something competent that fills just like that small gap of time is makes it that like. It really draws you to it to like keep playing it because you're like, oh yeah, it's not a huge time commitment. It's pretty fun and like decently made, and you can fill the in between spaces when I'm doing other stuff.
I like you, Brian. I like you. You're a good guy.
Oh, thank you. I mean, that means a lot.
Yeah, of course. Well, I mean it.
I might leave if I'm third wheeling here.
No, we love having you here, Jacob. It's been too long.
We're going for the We're going for that saxophone solo here.
But yeah, cool. Anything else you want to add before we move on?
No.
Cool. Well, let us move on then.
I wanted to hang for a second.
Yeah, normally I would say stuff that I've been playing, but honestly, I haven't really had time to play anything in the past.
Brian.
Yeah, the past couple weeks. It's been busy, man. Doing a lot of adult stuff. Doing work, not the sexy kind.
Not the H kind,
going to work,
the taxes kind.
Making money, paying bills, and then Jess and I are locking down a wedding venue, which we're actually going to go see next weekend and actually put the money down on. So I'm going to be out major dollar bills later, which I'm not super looking forward to, but at the same time, I'm happy. It's going to be good. The place is nice. We're making progress on our wedding planning, so that's good. That's the game of life.
Is my invitation in the mail?
No invitations are in the mail yet, but this place is really cool. They like do the invitations and stuff for you. You just submit your designs in it, and then they'll do everything, which is kind of sick.
Nice.
Yeah. So Jess is currently she wants to draw up the invitations, so she's kind of making like a comic strip for it, which is kind of cool.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm excited. She showed me like some rough drafts of it, and I really like it. But yeah, enough about me. Moving on to the news. Noise Pixel news. Who wants to start? Who wants to get us started with some awesome video game news for our lovely listeners?
I'm pretty ranty, so I can go first, and then you can be like, Victor, shut up.
Yeah, you shut up, Victor. I would never say that to you. Go ahead, Victor.
So I don't usually talk about this. I thought I would be long dead before I even remotely thought about even bringing up Fortnite, because I have my personal opinions of why I think the popularity and the meta around the game is quote unquote BS. But the reason why I bring up Fortnite today is because they had a huge event called the blackout, the black hole, if you will.
Yes, Fortnite, a realm reborn.
Because there was that like comet in the sky thing that was happening in Fortnite for a while, right, or something.
Yeah. So long ago in like season like 6, I don't know. I'm lying. There's been events where at the end of every season like things would happen, but some events were even larger than oh, it's over now, time for the next season. Where like comics are zipping by in the sky, rockets are disappearing, lasers and blah blah, and like rifts inside the sky, which if you go into in some points you teleport on the other side of the map. Crazy stuff. There's even that point where there's like that mascot from like some sort of hamburger shop, whatever, appeared in real life in a Californian desert because they're just like trying to hype up the game using real life, and I thought that stuff was cool. I don't like that it's happening to a game called Fortnite, because when I was back in my day, Fortnite was a single player game about zombies and fortifying your fort, which sounded way better to me.
But they struck gold with the battle royale concept.
They struck. I can't blame them for striking gold and changing.
I mean, they were competing with PUBG, which was poorly optimized.
Yes, I can agree. I played it for a long time.
Was only adding ludicrously priced garbage to it. Who doesn't like those $30 skins?
Mm-hmm. And so I even think this new season end is even more cooler than putting some freaking mascot in a desert where no one's can even see it. Mm-hmm. Because what happened is at the end of it all, like it concluded this weird like background story of just like, oh man, like the universe is rippling and it's going crazy, and like someone who knows is trying to prevent like this meteor from striking the world, but I guess they failed or whatever, because what happens is, even though all these rockets like quote unquote cured the rifts in the sky, it was still too late, and one more giant rift comes out and the meteor comes out of it, it strikes the world. All the players who were inside of the game got blasted back, and then they watched the entire world crumble into a black hole, and they fell into it too. And then from Sunday afternoon to like a Tuesday, like midnight or something, for 2 days, no one can play this game. All they see is like a black hole, and like you can't buy anything, you can't like check your friends, or
that's cool. I like that idea.
You couldn't buy anything. You couldn't start games. You couldn't do anything.
You couldn't connect to the server.
But that's still a pretty cool idea, I think.
It's discount Final Fantasy 14, and
so,
I love it.
And it's one of those things, because like, okay, so I'll put it this way: the reason why I love it so much is because I just felt like lately, this is my own like personal perspective, but like lately I just feel like everything's just so run by business. Me and Brian were talking about that the whole controversy with that kid who went on the freaking, what was it, the Hearthstone thing?
Yes,
like
the Blizzard China thing. So we did have a podcast episode that was supposed to go out, but I never posted it. It was not. It's not a China related thing that I didn't post it. It's literally Brian is just so bad at time management. So at that point, I was like, okay, maybe it's not really relevant to post it anymore, since it's been a week since I was supposed to post it. So we can still talk about it under the premise that we did talk about at some point the Blizzard China controversy, and it's not that we were scared to post it. It's literally I'm a lazy sack of shit.
Oh, Brian. So when it comes to those things and other, I just felt like kind of bummed out by the world, because it's just like, oh, like, yeah, like businesses, yes, they run on money, but like why so like blatantly and like somewhat greedy, like such grubby hands when it comes to money, all this money. But like Epic like chose to like neuter themselves for 2 days straight of any like income from like their giant, but and I get it, because like on the other side of it, they're the only ones who could afford to. Yeah. So, and
it's also a fantastic marketing stunt, and hell, it certainly works with Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah. Because the reason I'd like this, the interest that I find this bit interesting is because like a lot of games like that where it's just solely based on the mechanics of it, like where it's like a match made PvP type game, like battle royale style games or like MOBA style games and stuff. It's hard to implement lore in like a good way. And I think this is a really creative way of doing that, where it's like every season is literally changing the world and the story of the game, and you guys are participating in it, which I think is really neat.
I don't think there is any story there, so like...
Well, is there not? Because that's what the whole Fortnite thing is, right? Is because there was like a meteor thingy, and then the thing destroyed, and then now it's a black hole, and blah blah blah. Like it's not a really heavy story, but like it's still like how it's progressing things. I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, it's a story that doesn't detract from what you're doing, and that's just to shoot a couple of 14-year-olds in the face.
Yeah,
yeah. And hey, I mean, if you guys haven't seen it, just go and watch the final cutscenes from FF14 before A Realm Reborn. That stuff was wild.
Is that the first iteration of FF14? Or
yeah, so like when before they released The Realm Reborn, and they went, hey, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna like, instead of fixing this MMO, we're going to actually remove it and incorporate us removing it from existence into part of the story.
I think I remember seeing that in one of the FF14 videos I was watching.
Yeah, I definitely remember.
That's a really cool concept too.
It's top notch.
Yeah,
and 14.
Speaking of FF14, they need more freaking drama TV shows related to video games, like Final Fantasy Dad of Light for Final Fantasy 14, which is a huge Final Fantasy 14 ad, but it is like a legit good drama. Like I was watching it. It was a straight up ad, but I was like engrossed the whole time. Like we've come a long way from the Power Glove Wizard movie.
Oh god.
But yeah, that's what we need more for those types of games. Anyways, I feel like we got a little bit sidetracked a bit. Anything else you wanted to talk about, Victor, regarding Fortnite, or any more news you want to talk about?
That's about it. I was just going to say, cool. It's cool stuff. I like it. The game's cool back. Stuff. It's now called Fortnite Chapter 2. Mm-hmm. And I've yet to load, like I played like a round or two, but I never saw it like load up properly, because one of the neat things from it coming back, and if you're like part of the opening of it coming back at midnight, it does like its little cutscene thing, being like, oh, it's a brand new world, and it immediately jumps into the game with no loading screens. It was pretty nice. So I've yet to see a lobby, and the reason why I bring that up is because for a very long time I've been super upset at Fortnite, because it's been years. They have seasons, they have this stuff, they have this freaking meta or whatever you want to call it, and all this stuff. Like, this is a foolproof, well thought out, developed game, and during the loading screen, and maybe even during the lobby, it still says in the corner, it still to this day says early access.
Does it really?
And I want to backhand it so bad.
That's super funny.
Anyways,
there's got to be a line. There's got to be a line.
I'm gonna play it later, and if it still says it, I'll update you, Noisy Pixel listener.
It turns out it was all early access. I'm waiting for this one moment. The biggest beta in the world.
Oh man.
I'm done.
Good. How about you, Jacob? Any new stuff that you want to share with our lovely listeners?
New stuff. I'm really bad with time management, so I managed to miss the I managed to forget to do the obligatory, hey guys, Fate Grand Order got a new story chapter. This is like a really important thing, because like the director must be like the most frustrating mobile game developer to work with, or mobile game director to work with, because you know how every other mobile game, when you add a story segment, like which ones have you played again? Like Fire Emblem Heroes or Brave Exvius or whatever. Which ones have you played? So I can use a legit example.
Gacha games that I've played Crash Fever. I've played that One Piece one, that One Piece Treasure Cruise one.
Okay. I haven't played those ones. Bugger. That doesn't help me.
What other gacha games I've played? I really haven't played too many other gacha games besides
That's good. With the majority of gacha games, so using your common examples, like your big titles, Fire Emblem Heroes, Brave Exvius, Record Keeper, whatever else I can think of. when they implement a chapter, it's all like, hey guys, here's a new story update. It's a single chapter that tells you next to nothing about what's going on in the story and ends in a cliffhanger and is very short. You know, that's that sort of thing. It keeps people interested and going like theorizing for whatever comes next. And it's actually really bad storytelling when you try to binge everything at once. You come back and it's like nothing happened when, and nothing happened and when. It's like watching Demon Slayer. Fate was probably one of the most difficult ones for mobile game devs to work with, because every story chapter update isn't like, oh hey guys, here's a couple of minutes of some extra content for you to do. No, it's like, here's 8 to 12 hours of fights and story cutscenes for a full story. That's what these things are. We put an entire story in here. It's not roundabout. You could adapt one of these things into a full anime. Wait, what? There's that one airing right now? They're stupidly big updates, and I really like them. To the point, like, we do have the anime adaptation for Babylon airing right now. 24-episode anime out of one mobile game story chapter.
That's impressive.
Wait, really?
That's really impressive that they've met it. I want to see how they do that.
That's how big the story chapters are in Fate.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
So, I forgot to bring up Shimoza. That's the new chapter that's dropped. It's probably the worst. The worst one was the last one. It's poorly balanced, but it's a rad story. But, pick that up if you play Fate, but you probably already know because I'm late.
You were out of Australia. Now you're back in Australia, as we said in the intro.
Yeah, that's how that works.
Where was I then? In limbo. You were in that black hole from Fortnite. Anyways.
That's scary.
Moving on to other stuff. What other stuff has happened in video games? This one for Victor, Google Stadia stuff.
Ooh.
Didn't they announce some Google Stadia stuff earlier today?
They announced a release date for November. Let me make some random noises while I type.
What do you guys think?
It's November 19th. It's November 19th, people.
19. I almost got it. You ruined everything.
You guys ready for those predictive button presses? They're trying to play the game, so I let the game play itself.
I can tell you're typing S from the sound of your keyboard. No, so it's November 17th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and
November 19th.
I did 19. Whatever. Okay,
come on, Victor, get your Google Stadia shit right.
I'm gonna walk all
on the 17th. People are gonna be like so excited. They'll be like, "Yeah, it's coming out today." Victor said so. 2 days waiting. They have to wait another 2 days.
I'm gonna walk all the way over there and beat you up. Brian.
Right.
No. So there's still time to get your Founders editions if you want a nice, cool midnight black looking or midnight blue. Controller with some orange accents and all that stuff. Get your Chromecasters ready. Get your stuff ready. Here's one interesting bit. Two bits, since we didn't talk about them before. One, apparently Google is going to try predicting all of your button presses. My phone just went off because I said Google.
It's listening.
They're going to try. It's like, what are you saying about me, Victor?
Shut up. Talking shit? Victor, are you talking shit about the new Google Stadia coming out November 18th, 19th?
Yeah, you fucked up.
Fuck, I fucked it up too.
So Google wants to try to predict your button presses before you even press them to help reduce latency.
Hacks. So that's fucking cheating right there.
So I guess no one's playing fighting games on this.
Or does that mean that like those people who suck at fighting games, it'll be better because it'll like level the playing field out?
Go ahead, Jacob.
But it'll level the playing field to the point where, oh no, this is it. This is 20XX. This is 20XX. Fox only, Final Destination. It's two computers fighting each other to the very best. Predictive text.
The biggest draw of Google Stadia is if they can manage to bring Smash Bros to it.
The only way I see this working is if there are instances where you have to repeatedly push buttons. Maybe you're in the middle of those what you call it, the time, what is it called? How am I forgetting this? What, quick time events? Thank you, Jacob. Where like you have to tap things for. That's honestly my only guess, because I don't know how
it's just
you can
programmed in it. Be like, I'm just gonna press X for you.
Like analog sticks, or how deep you press in the triggers. I don't know how you're gonna freaking predict that kind of stuff, but whatever. Fine.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Okay.
Oh man, you guys ready for Sonic Forces QTEs? Doesn't matter whether or not you press it, the game will work it anyway.
Watch the next like AGDQ. They're gonna purposefully bust out a Google Stadia just for its like predictive button pressing. They'll like find some loophole or some shit. Or like, oh yeah, when you get to this stage, Google Stadia knows how to press this better than you could possibly press it. So it's better to run it on the Stadia. You save like 4 seconds of your runtime.
It's no longer TAS. It's no longer TAS runs. It's GSAS, Google Stadia assisted speedruns.
Do you remember when Microsoft was talking about Forza Horizon? I forgot which one, maybe 3, where it's just like, oh, there's your like autopilot character or whatever. So every time you're not playing the game, it's leveling up for you. You don't even play this game. You just come back and you're just like, oh, good job, robot. Thank you very much. So there's that.
Yeah.
But also the tidbit that came out recently, I believe it came out today, that Google Stadia, it has this cool controller, right? And you can use this controller, and the point of Google Stadia is that you can play it on your phone, on your computer, on your Google Chromecast, on your TV, and all that stuff. But guess what? At launch, the controller will not connect to your Pixel or your Pixelbook.
What?
One of the main points of Stadia, why it's so like ambitious and everyone's just like intrigued, rubbing their chins, being just like, wow, this might actually be really cool.
Again, take some time to develop your shit before you actually launch your shit. Like,
you want to play Assassin's Creed on your phone with your controller? No,
don't give me this fucking half-baked shit, okay? Like, don't tell me that you're gonna give me something and then not give it to me.
Okay, well, that's my phone. Maybe I understand. I'll just play it on my computer because I'm on my computer anyways. No, no. Go to your TV like everyone freaking else.
Ugh, that's so.
I almost said the F word. I apologize.
It's all right. We've said the F word like so many times in this podcast. It doesn't
I don't
matter.
remember it. I block it out.
Yeah, I have a sailor's mouth. It's terrible.
Hey Santa. I mean, what?
I can't wait for this thing to predict what I'm going to press in Doom Eternal. Like,
all right. Yeah, so here, let's get into the games list and see how predictive button stuff might work for each of these games, okay? So we're going to go down this list. First one, Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Yes.
What do you think predictive buttons will do for Assassin's Creed Odyssey?
Well, if you're running towards a building, it's going to be like, he might want to climb. I'm just going to do it for him.
So basically,
you're just trying to assassinate someone and you end up climbing a building instead. You're just like, God fucking damn it.
So basically, who needs a jump button? Auto jump.
I could see that being so tedious.
It's Legend of Zelda, boys.
All right. Any other thoughts before moving on to the next game?
What about? Wait, hold on. Final Fantasy 15 is coming.
Yeah, Doom. Stadium? All right, Doom Eternal is the next game. How about this one? What are you guys' thoughts on Doom Eternal having quick predictive buttons?
Forget the predictive buttons. How are they going to make it run 60 on latency? It's 60 Twitch gameplay and fucking latency out the wazoo. How about we figure that out first?
What if the predictive test it because it's the whole point is so that it combats latency, right? So it's basically gonna have to work twice as hard and just do all the work for you. It gives you the illusion of playing a Doom game. It's like when you like your kid brother wants to play a game with you, and then you hand them a controller that's not plugged in, and they think they're doing it. It's gonna be like that, but with the Google Stadia as your big brother.
Here's an easy one though. Elder Scrolls Online. What do you predict is going to happen? Well, he might want to press A whenever he wants to,
It's
see the
gonna
next
sell
text
all
box.
your cheeses when you go to the store and try to
Oh,
sell
no.
a bunch of things. It'll just sell everything one by one.
I mean, I'd recommend the Google Stadia to save all the predictive text to Elder Scrolls Online. It should quickly map whatever buttons are to close the game, so you don't actually have to play it.
Wow, that is a lot of shade thrown at Elder Scrolls Online right now.
How does Just Dance 2020 work?
It's rhythm games, buddy. It's
Wait.
order.
But you're supposed to dance. Does your controller?
Yeah, what
Do
the
you
hell?
use?
Oh, no.
But you're supposed. What do you use with this game to play it?
Oh my god, it is on there.
How
What
do
the
you
hell?
How do you play Just Dance 2020 on the Google Stadia?
Oh, no. Wait.
Does the
with your
controller work
smartphone.
as a thingy?
Wait, hold
Oh,
on.
you're right. Yeah.
No. Wait, no. Maybe I'm wrong.
Because one of the things
you
uses a
you need-
smartphone. I remember there was
you
like a
need-
rhythm game that uses a smartphone instead of
hold
like
on,
the
so-
Wii controller. It like tracks your phone or whatever. Maybe.
Wow.
You need-
I could see
One
that.
You need your
functioning thing.
Chromecast. You need your Chromecast projecting the game on your TV. Do you need to plug it in your phone to Stadia?
Yeah,
With
see,
the
that's what.
controller?
See, I'm trying to think of how this is gonna work out. That's the one.
Maybe
I'm
I'm thinking about it too hard.
probably the
maybe I'm
most
thinking-
curious about is this Just Dance 2020 for the Google Stadia on how that's.
Oh,
gonna
hell
work
yeah.
out. Very curious. A lot of these other ones I feel like could be pretty easy to play on the Google Stadia, like Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. That's like a nothing.
That's gonna be the toughest
Faith.
game, actually.
Thumper might be hard because it's like a rhythm game. If there's any latency in a rhythm game, that can get a little wonky. All the
Oh,
RPGs would be fine. Football Manager should be easy to play. Final Fantasy 15 should be okay. Farming Simulator.
I mean, the car already drives itself, and the battles are literally 2 buttons. You play the game doing other things to begin with.
Yeah. Road Trip the game, Final Fantasy 15.
Remember when 15 had like an actual combat system?
All right. Well, that's the Google Stadia. Looking forward to that, I guess. We'll see in
Oh, boy,
November
it's
19th what people say and how people feel about it. But
Super hot on the Stadia.
I'll wait till
Spread
they work out some kinks, maybe.
I also like how they recommend 10 megabytes down. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh yeah, so basically no one in Australia will be able to buy it.
But speaking of AI and video games, so there's this other article I was reading on like PC Games N, where there's some like free-to-play games developers that are training an AI to target whales for microtransactions in their games.
Huh?
Yeah. So the developer for Transformers Earth Wars, which I guess is like this Transformers mobile game that has microtransactions, they're training an AI to spot who the whales are, so that they can predict which players have the potential to spend the most money. So they claim that this AI already can spot whales with up to 87% accuracy. So can you imagine like you're looking at your player base, and then you see these players playing games. They haven't spent any money yet, but you see like this guy has the potential to spend so much money, and then you just start targeting him with like deals and shit on his mobile app specifically, just so that he alone buys stuff to keep you afloat. I feel like that's such a dangerous thing.
That is. This is why you shouldn't actually play mobile games.
Because this is also on the back end of like, there's like news that someone who plays this like mobile Transformers game has already spent $220,000 on it. And that's like, it's crazy to me. Like, where did you even get $220,000? But anyways,
From my couch.
there's that news. Other news, Riot Games announced a bunch of stuff during their 10-year anniversary stream, which I believe was yesterday. So Riot Games is now officially going to be Riot Games, where they have more than one games. Because they in their 10-year, they showed a sizzle reel of various game projects that they're working on for the upcoming years. So one is a mobile version of League of Legends. So you know how like a bunch of those like knockoff League of Legends games and stuff came out on mobile, like Clash of Fates or whatever they're called, things like that. So I guess like League of Legends is just like, fuck it. If people are gonna play it, we might as well make our own and take that market for ourselves. So they're making a mobile version of League of Legends. It's like a slimmed down version of League of Legends, but it still plays roughly the same, like a MOBA. So you have like a button for auto attacking, and it's like it uses like a dual joystick type control scheme for playing the game, which is really interesting. It looks really clean. Interested to see what it's going to be like coming out, because if they do it really well, I feel like it could be a pretty fun game to play like on the go, while still having that like mechanical depth of like League of Legends. The other game that they're doing is like kind of like a Hearthstone card game situation. It's hard because like in the stream they're like trying to talk up like, oh, it's different, like it's not like other card games, but you know, it's kind of the point for online card games where they're all roughly the same thing with like maybe a little difference here and there. So I haven't played the League of Legends thing yet. They're doing like this week, they allow some people to test it out, so we'll see how that goes. But that's the thing that they're working on. Also in the works for them is a kind of like it looks kind of like a mix between Overwatch and like another like standard like battle royale shooter. So you got like character class like to play, and they each have different abilities and stuff like that in the shooter game, but it also plays like a really tight shooter. So there were some clips and stuff from that, and that looked pretty good too. And what other things that they work on? They're working on an RPG of some kind. They didn't show too much of that one. It looked kind of like a top-down, like Diablo-esque RPG featuring like the League of Legends characters. And then another thing that they showed was some bits of fighting game that looks similar to like Street Fighter 5 in like art style and like schematics and stuff like that. So that's coming out as well. So they're working on a lot of things, which is very exciting to see. It's been 10 years and they were working during the whole time, and they're gradually going to be announcing stuff within the next year. So we'll see how that goes.
You guys ready for the fan base for every single one of those titles to be toxic as hell?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I'm so ready, dude. It's gonna be. It's gonna happen. I'm especially looking forward to the toxic mobile League of Legends community, because I wanted to get as toxic as like regular League of Legends gets, where people talk like mad shit on mobile, even though it's like, come on guys, it's like the mobile version of the game. It's not even the real thing. Like,
wait for like cross compatibility between them.
Yeah. No, that would never happen, dude. You get shit on if you're playing it like a mobile player versus the PC version. So that's that for Riot Games. Oh, they're also announcing an animated cartoon, so that's finally happening, because Riot Games had a bunch of like animated shorts and like videos and stuff and music videos that they've been doing, and everyone's been like, hey, do an animation, do a movie, do blah blah blah. So they're finally doing a animated show.
They better actually credit these people this time.
I would hope so. But
instead of like, hiring them temporarily and then firing them and then just saying and then not crediting them.
Yeah.
Like they did last time.
Yeah. Like the several times that they do it.
Yeah, but warning you guys. But we can do much.
We'll see.
We can't do much, but we're warning you.
We'll see. But either way, exciting stuff. Because I've personally been looking for an animated series for League of Legends for a while, and it's finally happening 10 years later. So that's cool.
Were you though? Were you really?
I mean, okay, within the past couple of years, I forgot about it. But in the time when I was playing League of Legends, yes, I was hyped for it.
Okay.
Let's see. What else? Funny bit of news that I found.
Funny.
Yeah, so there's a game that's called Play With Me. It's like a escape room, like a puzzle game where you're like
I'm interested
in like a Saw room, or like it's in like the style of the movie Saw, I should say. And so there's puzzle and stuff. But the funny thing that happened in this game is that there was like a teaser on YouTube that people saw a frame in it that said the URL playwithmegame.com/hidden. which is supposed to like take you to a site that helps you solve a puzzle in the game or something like that. But people, I guess, like typed in the wrong stuff, because instead of typing playwithmegame.com, they typed in playwithme.com, which is a pornography cam site. But what's even funnier is they thought that was like still part of the game. So they were trying to find the clues in this campsite website.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, so that's a bit of the funny thing. Even the developer was like, whoops, it looks like someone created a website called playwithme.com that's for people ages 18 and up. To correct, it's playwithmegame.com/hidden, not playwithme. But yeah. I think let's see. Yeah, but I'm just trying to imagine like what's happening like when people go into this like camgirl website, and then they're just like trying to uncover clues. Like, do they like click on the camgirls websites and start chatting with them and like try to like speak in code, like to try to get information on how to beat the game?
Rod 13.
Suddenly, like a camgirl's viewership like spikes by like threefold. She's just like, "What's happening here?" All the while they're just typing in chat, "Play with me?" ?
The people speaking in ciphers and riddles.
But yeah, so that's a bit of a funny haha news for that. But yeah, that's pretty much all the news that I found interesting looking around. Well, since I don't think I'm gonna be uploading the previous episode just because it feels not like, time relevant anymore, because there's like some stuff in there where we like reference, oh yeah, tomorrow, but that was like a week ago. So I don't know. Do we want to like touch base? Because I feel like we should talk about the whole Blizzard thing, and I did and like China thing, because I think it's fairly important to address and let people know what's going on if they don't already know. If you don't already know, you should probably know by now. I feel like
we can do.
I feel like it's gone. Yeah, just a quick rundown. It's just what's been happening. So obviously, there's like a huge protest going on in Hong Kong for like democracy, and China's cracking down on that. There's a lot of riots, a lot of terrible stuff is happening over there. On the back end of this, there was a pro player for Hearthstone that was at a professional Hearthstone tournament. His character name is Blitzchung, and so he gets an interview during that tournament, and in that interview he's dressed like the Hong Kong protesters with the mask and like goggles and all that stuff, and then so he proceeds to, at the end of the interview, to state one of the, I forget what the slogan is for the Hong Kong protesters, but he says that and the people like doing the interview, they already like know what's going on, and they start like hiding under their desk because they're of the ramifications of what that could mean. And then so after that, Blizzard makes an announcement saying that they're banning Blitzchung from Hearthstone for a year, and he gets none of his earnings from any of the tournaments. And they also let go of the two interviewers who interviewed him.
Poor guys. Yeah.
And then after that, they reduced his sentence because there was a bunch of backlash, because people were like, this is really messed up. Like Blizzard is like, just pandering to China and, being really unfair. So they were like doing crazy things like let's make like May into a Hong Kong protesting icon so that they have to ban her from China. So they like took the China May skin, or they like make all these memes and stuff dressing her up as like a Hong Kong protester and things like that. Another thing that they would do is they would start.
I think they've had. I think her the May merchandise has been removed from the store at this point.
Has it really?
In China.
Oh shit!
Oh my god!
Oh shit! And then some other stuff that's happened is that people were like stopping their subscriptions to like World of Warcraft and things like that. A lot of Blizzard employees did a walkout in protest. One of the developers for World of Warcraft Classic, I believe, he unsubscribed his World of Warcraft account on Twitter, and in the comments for when you're like saying why you're unsubscribing, he like mentions that he doesn't believe that Blizzard's being fair, and he doesn't agree with or he's in support of the Hong Kong protesting.
Don't actually look him up though; he's pretty cursed.
And then what else has happened since then? Oh yeah, people were also like trying to have Blizzard give give them their data or something like that, or wipe their data. I forget what we talked about this before, Victor. What was it? They
to
get Blizzard to start to get Blizzard to like pay the money. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
People also started like deleting all their accounts and stuff, and slowly Blizzard have been removing the verification.
Yeah.
So now it's at the point where you have to send them your actual ID
so that they know who you are.
Your account.
Yeah. But the other thing on top of that is like there was like a thing where people were like asking for, because if you make a request to Blizzard to like release you your data or something like that they're keeping on you or whatever, they have like, I think in Europe there's a law that like Blizzard has to reply to you in 30 days or else they get fined. They have to pay a huge fine to the EU. Or something like that. Okay. So people were trying to like do it in mass so that like, oh yeah, there's like no way they're going to be able to handle the bandwidth of all these requests. So they're going to have to pay the EU money. So that was another step of things that they were taking. And because of all this, I assume is why Blizzard reduces the ban on Blitzchung's punishment. Yeah.
They let him have his earnings back.
Yes,
and they reduced it to 6 months. And I believe the newscasters or the streamcasters, I believe they also got a reduced sentence to 6 months.
I can't find that. I'm looking up stuff so I
can't find the interview person, but I did find the response from Blitzchung where he says, in response to Blizzard reducing their punishment, he says, for tournament prizing, I quoted what Blizzard said on the official website. They mentioned that I played fair in the tournament and they believe I should receive my prizing. Chung wrote, this is the part I really appreciate. Blizzard also said they understand for some this is not about the prize, but perhaps for others it is disrespectful to even discuss it. People from Blizzard had explained this to me through a phone call and I really appreciated that, and I accept their decision on this part. So it looks like they're on better terms now. Now that like they talked it through and stuff. And on top of that, earlier today, I believe, or recently, Blizzard also banned 3 college Hearthstone protesters for 6 months because they held up a Free Hong Kong Boycott Blizzard sign during a Hearthstone Collegiate Championship match. Oh, this was last week, October 8th is when it happened.
Last I checked, the future matches for the rest of the tournament will not include any face cam.
Yeah.
So I think those are going to be a lot more boring now.
Yeah, but I think also people are a bit more okay about it. It seems just because it's like consistent. Like at least Blizzard's not like their punishment is consistent for everybody. It's not like someone's getting off lighter or someone's getting off harsher.
Yeah, because they only got that ban after they literally went like.
Yeah, and it's also like using the same violation rules where they what is it? The like participants may not take an action or perform any gesture directed at another participant in a mocking or disruptive or abusive manner or something like that.
Yeah, it was like, so they actually gave them that suspension after they actually forfeited. Because it was like that you're being hypocritical here, letting us off with a warning, and then denying Blitzchung.
Right, that makes sense.
So I think that's how that's followed up. I'm still going through articles though, just so I can find.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening around this. It's hard to kind of condense it all, but that's kind of like the gist of what's happened, at least in regards to Blizzard in China. There's a lot of stuff regarding other places in China and I think Riot Games also is one of them because like in their World Championships people were skeptical. Were like, oh, why is it that they keep referring to Hong Kong Attitude as HKA instead of their full name? And Blizzard had to release a statement that like we prefer when they use either the team's full name, Hong Kong Attitude, or they use HKA instead of anything else in between. Which I get. I can kind of get that.
We've also had the there was the Overwatch big release day that was coming, and Blizzard had a live event at the Nintendo New York store that was going to be today, but it was cancelled.
Oh damn!
Was so yeah, the Blizzard cancelled it according to the Nintendo Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
So that's more amusing than anything else, because I feel like there would have been a lot of signs at that event with some very particular words that China doesn't like.
Yeah.
So I mean, not to mention that BlizzCon is soon. Like I think it's on the first.
It's gonna be interesting. BlizzCon is gonna be especially interesting, I feel.
So I wouldn't be surprised if the designated protest area is probably somewhere near the parking lot in the back,
Yeah. But
it's like, oh, don't worry, you get the protest, but don't bring your signs inside.
Yeah, there's gonna probably be like higher levels of security and things like that too, based on everything. Just because, it could escalate really quickly because the whole thing is very sensitive right now. But which is also why it's important, and which is why it's worth bringing up and talking about. It's because we as people who enjoy video games should also be aware of what's happening in our industry regarding it, and also not even just as video gamers, we in general should be aware of what's happening currently in the world and how that can affect just us and our lives and the lives of just wherever we are.
Mm-hmm.
So that's yeah.
That's pretty much everything going on. Riot did say that pro players should avoid discussing sensitive topics on air at the LoL World Championships, which they're owned by Tencent.
Yeah, and Tencent is a huge Chinese company, and they
if I'm correct, Tencent is a media conglomerate.
Yeah, they're not just a gaming company. They also do or I don't know if they currently do it. I just remember there was plans where like Tencent was contracted to do basically their version of our social security number.
Oh, sweet Lord, they basically already do.
Because I don't remember if it's Tencent that is doing it or if it's some other company. But I remember Tencent was in that conversation for it, where like, oh, depending on like who you hang out with and what you buy and all this other stuff, it's
you guys ready for this?
Your score.
Tencent controls hundreds of subsidiaries and associations in numerous industries and areas, including search engines, e-commerce, retail, video gaming, real estate, software, virtual reality, ride-sharing, banking, financial services, fintech, consumer technology, computer technology, automobile industry, film production, movie ticketing, music production, space technology, natural resources, smartphones, big data, agriculture, medical services, cloud computing, social media, IT, advertising, streaming media, artificial intelligence, robotics, UAVs, food delivery, courier service, ebook, internet services, education, and renewable energy.
That's kind of intense.
That's an entire...
Yeah, that's like everything. That's like running the country at that point. Like,
yeah.
I'm such a tech dork that as soon as you said like smartphones, I was like, I have to look this up. So I put in Tencent phone, and it says Tencent reveals the Republic of Gamers phone 2, which is a Asus.
ROG is,
and I was just like, wow,
it's pretty crazy. They have their fingers in every pie, man. But yeah, it's
so they've got
look it up, do your guys' own research, come up with your own opinions and things like that based off of it. But definitely look into it because I feel like it's really important and everybody should be aware of what's happening.
And if everything you're reading just starts bumming you out, just play Stella on Xbox. It's fine. Everything will be fine.
And get excited for Necrobarista because you couldn't go much further away from China than a coffee shop in the back street of Australia, where you can get a cup of Joe.
Or support us at noisypixel.net and our YouTube channel, as we aren't really associated with anybody because we're so small.
Also, if you could promo that one post we made earlier, it would mean a lot to us because we are still waiting for.
Help Brian get coffee.
Help Brian get a cup of Joe.
Brian,
no, this isn't about Brian.
Coffee money.
This is about us trying to get our YouTube going.
Exactly.
Stuff.
Yes.
Look up that tweet.
Yes,
it's
we
great.
would like to scale up, get bigger. Should do good work in video games journalism and the video games industry.
Maybe someone will link that tweet below.
Yes.
Yeah.
Check and links below.
Mark, put that stuff down below when you do this YouTube video. Thank you.
Jacob, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
It furthers my ignorance towards Australia, but I want to know what do you think the difference between an American cafe and an Australian cafe is?
I don't feel like there'd be much of a difference because cafe is a very broad term.
Because I mean, in Japan, there's cats in them,
and
they
have Shiba Inus too. Do you guys have koala cafes?
No, we don't. But those are just themed cafes.
That sounds dangerous, actually. Don't have a koala cafe. It sounds so dangerous.
You'd be getting chlamydia very easily.
Yeah, that sounds terrifying. Don't do that.
That's my favorite fun fact, by the way. That fucking koalas.
I think the best interpretation of a koala, I think there's like a animated movie called, what is it? Into the Wild or something like that. I think that's
sure.
Or is it called The Wild? It's called, I'm looking it up. It's called The Wild. And yeah, there's like an Australian, there's just a koala in the zoo, and he's just such an asshole. He's like a little Danny DeVito. It's so great.
Oh my god.
He's like a gremlin, and he's just such an ass. It's the best. That's the biggest redeeming factor of that movie.
No, the best the best koala is the drop bear in Yusha Yoshihiko, which is the parody TV series inspired by Dragon Quest.
Oh.
It's a really great show. You should totally watch it because it's really dumb and fun. There's an evil drop bear that tries to kill the cast, and it's just a koala on a string.
I'm into it.
Plush koala on a string.
I'm into it.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah.
Let's get out of here.
Let's go. As always, thank you everybody for tuning in to another episode of the Noisy Pixel Podcast. We appreciate your guys' support for listening, and we wouldn't be where we are if it weren't for you guys. So thank you guys so much. But we don't want to stop here, so keep sharing our stuff. Like, subscribe, ring bells, give it to your friend, show your grandma, all that stuff. And in the meantime, we'll be here, keeping to doing the news stuff and the game stuff and the previews and the reviews and the interview stuff. Until next week, bye-bye.
Peace.
Bye-bye.